...2025 has come to a close, so now it's time to look back and reflect on the movies of 2025. Like any other year, 2025 had plenty of movies that I loved and plenty of movies that I did not. In this video, I'm going to count down my top 5 most disappointing movies of 2025. I'm going to rank these 5 movies not by how much I disliked them, but by how disproportionate they were to my expectations. It's also worth noting that while obviously these movies disappointed me, I didn't hate any of them. They all had at least a few things that I liked in them. Also, I'll include some mild spoilers in this video, but nothing too serious. Without further ado, let's get into the actual countdown. At number 5 is going to be The Smashing Machine. I was intrigued when I heard that Dwayne Johnson was going to star in a prestige drama about real-life wrestler Mark Kerr. I was even more intrigued when I heard that one of the Safdie brothers was going to direct it. And while I do think that Dwayne Johnson does show that he does have some acting chops, this movie falls into the biopic trap of just being a sequence of scenes with no sense of causality or forward momentum. The movie just showcases different events from Mark Kerr's life without a solid through line. And while Dwayne Johnson does give a surprisingly good performance, he is massively upstaged by Emily Blunt, who really brings her A-game acting-wise. Overall, while the movie looks really good, The Smashing Machine is just kind of boring. The story isn't very engaging and the characters are underdeveloped. At number 4 is going to be Wicked for Good. I was a huge fan of Wicked Part 1 and am a huge fan of the musical Wicked. I didn't expect this movie to be as good as the first because the second act of the play is weaker than the first act. However, I didn't expect the drop in quality to be this severe. This movie's tone is all over the place. There are scenes that are fun and whimsical, followed by scenes that are dark and brutal. Also, this movie is horrendously paced. They did not do a good job stretching what's supposed to be 40 minutes of a play into a 2.5-hour movie. While I do like the general structure of the plot and character arcs, the final product was very poor. At number 3 it's going to be Mickey 17. While I'm not a huge Bong Joon-ho fan, I was still excited to see his follow-up to Parasite. I was especially intrigued by the trailers and by the cast. And while I like the basic plot of this movie is abhorrently slow-paced. It needed to be an entire hour shorter. And while I like the cast, the villains of this movie are way too over-the-top and cartoony. And while I'm looking forward to whatever Bong Joon-ho's next project will be, this one was definitely a letdown. At number 2 is going to be Karate Kid Legends. I'm a huge fan of the original Karate Kid movie, and I actually liked the 2010 reboot. When I heard that this movie was going to bring those two sets of characters together, I was interested to see how that would go. However, the final product of this movie has way too many plot lines and characters. There's enough plot for 3 different movies all crammed into just this one. On top of that, the dialogue is really stilted and the pacing feels really off. I'm happy that Ben Wang went on to star in The Long Walk and that he's going to be in Sunrise on the Reaping later this year because he's not a bad actor, and this movie does not at all showcase his acting abilities. However, my number 1 most disappointing movie of 2025 was The Running Man. You take one of the most iconic Stephen King stories, get one of the most talented and unique filmmakers working today, and one of the best up-and-coming movie stars working today, and this is the final product? This movie is a misfire on almost every level. The characters are bland, the pacing is atrocious, and the universe is very poorly defined. This movie introduces a bunch of rules but never really does anything with them, and it also jumps between characters and locations way too quickly. Since seeing this movie, I actually went back and read The Running Man by Stephen King, and I do not think that Glenn Powell was the right choice for the character of Ben Richards. The book, and the movie to an extent, characterized Richards as gruff, angry, broken, and kind of a jerk, and these traits do not match with Glenn Powell's natural charisma. Overall, this movie had so much potential that it did not live up to. So that's it, those are my most disappointing movies of 2025. What movies disappointed you the most in 2025? Let me know in the comments below. I also just want to say that while I obviously was disappointed by most of these films, I still think that the cast and crew behind them are very talented, and I'm really excited to see what they do next. I'll have my most surprising movies of 2025 up in a few days. If you want to see more videos like this, click this playlist right here. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Bye.